Hi, this is Kathie from Craft with Kathie. Thanks for joining me this evening. I have somewhat of an unexpected project that I'm going to be working on tonight. This was not something I ever intended to do, but things happen, right? I'm coming at you from the suburbs west of Chicago. Drop me a line, let me know where you're viewing from. So basically, yes, I hadn't intended on altering this shirt. It is a recent purchase, and I actually was cooking, and I must have gotten splattered with something and didn't realize it, and went to put it on today and found that I have a little stain on it, and it was like, oh no, this is not good. What am I going to do with this? It's already been laundered, it's been dried. Odds of it coming out are probably slim. So I said, what the heck? I'm going to put an image on it and hopefully hide it. It's just a tiny little blemish, but still, I just wouldn't feel comfortable wearing it, right? So what better transfer to use than March's Club Couture called Botanicals? I think this will work perfectly. So I'm going to just basically use my transfer, and instead of using chalk paste, which is water soluble, I will be using ink. And I'm thinking, do I want to use the fawn or my almond? I think I'm going to use the almond. I think it kind of goes a little bit better with it. I'm not going to do anything fancy on here. I'm not going to do multiple colors. I do want to make sure this is the right consistency though before I get much further into this. And I know I shouldn't be doing it over, okay, this is good. I shouldn't be doing it over my surface. But anyway, so I already put in my little ink mat. You can pull this up. It's underneath my shirt. It's has one side that's adhesive, so it's stuck to the shirt, and will keep it nice and flat and steady as I chalk. And because I'm using fabric, I am not going to fuzz this transfer. I'm just going to take it straight off of the backer and place it on my fabric. Now, ink is permanent once it's heat set, and heat set's really easy. I just kind of want to see where I want to place it. Oops, place this to begin with. Right about here. Will work. Okay. Anyway, heat setting is really simple, and basically the process, sorry, I already have my paste open, my ink open, sorry about that. The process is much the same as using paste. I am going to, once I find my squeegee, I'm going to apply some ink. And when I use my ink, I like to go in one direction. So I'm going to be pulling this down towards myself. I need to be careful not to go over the edges. Hopefully I'm not in trouble with that. I could actually use my placement tape and put it around the edge so that I don't go off the edge, but I think I'm going to just be real careful as I spread the ink over the transfer. I'm going to make sure I get the top there. It is kind of close to the top. It is kind of close to the edge. Obviously, if I miss something and I pull this transfer up, I could always clean the transfer. I'm going to go one direction right, and I almost did the opposite. I could always clean the transfer and lay it back down and catch the area that I missed. So that's pretty much the same with chalking. I would want to wait until my ink is dry, and I could use my little heat tool to dry the ink. Now I do have to go sideways on this because I need to skip our stock number and everything that's there. Normally it does not have silk screen underneath it, but this release it did. future releases that'll be corrected. The vendor, I guess, just didn't realize or whatever. But these transfers are a little bit different. They are much smoother. They use less paste and ink, and they clean up in a snap. So I really, really like them. Just trying to be really careful there. Do not want to get my ink anywhere that I don't want it to be. The one thing that you have to, the most important thing when you're inking is to make sure your fingers are clean. You don't want to accidentally have ink on your fingers when you lift the transfer or basically hold it in place like I'm doing now. I really probably don't need to hold it in place, but I am kind of holding my shirt in place. I'm not going all the way. Oh yes, I guess I will go all the way to the bottom here. Kind of close, a little tight there. I want to get the edges of my leaves over here and then come down to the bottom of that stem. Okay, I think I've caught everything. A little difficult up there by the butterfly. I'm going to come over the stem again because it looked like it was a little light. But basically, I'm hoping to salvage this shirt for future wearings because I really like it. Okay, I'm smoothing it out, removing any excess, and much the same, I'll put the excess back into my jar of ink. I need a bigger area to work. I don't like having this over my surface. Okay, so finger check, make sure there's no ink on me anywhere, and then I'm going to lift up this transfer. I'm going to lift it up slowly in case I'm missing anything. I don't really feel that I got dark enough right there on the bottom of those of the stems. And I know I say go one direction. In this case, I'm going the opposite because I don't want to hit the wording and I'm really out of space. So let me just kind of go back over that. Come back down one more time and see if I've got all of the stems. I think that looks much better. Take a quick little peek. Finger check. Oh yeah, there we go. What do you think? Now, I'm actually probably going to add a little bit to this. Let me move it off my table. Put this transfer somewhere so I don't get it to fold on itself. Let me move this off the table and out of the way. And I'll be right back. I'm going to give this transfer a quick little spritz to clean it up because I think I'm going to make my design a little bit larger than is shown on this transfer. So let me just wet this. And use my board eraser to clean it up. And yes, my spray bottle's on its last legs. I have another one around here somewhere, probably buried in my craft room somewhere. But let me clean this up quickly because I want to clean it, dry it, and add another 2 flowers to my design. And then I want to talk about yesterday's project a little bit and show you what happened. I was going to post it when it was finished, and it isn't finished because we had a little oops. I was scurrying to get things cleaned up. Mom was up and wanted a snack, and I had obviously painted that frame and set it aside to dry, and I didn't want to move it because I really didn't know where to pick it up. It was, you know, it's wet all over, right? So I didn't. I just left it there to dry, and she had her snack, and unfortunately her cup of juice spilled and splashed it in a couple places. It's like, oh no. So not only did I have a little bit of a mess to clean up, but it was like, oh no, I just painted it and got splashed. So whatever. I remember our chalk paste is water soluble. So, and something I didn't mention yesterday is, in reality, if I'm going to paint something like a frame like that with chalk paste, I would want to seal it, because anytime if someone picked it up with moist hands and smudged it or whatever, it could potentially come off. So, which was part of the issue when I went to clean it up. As I wiped it, I'm pulling off a little bit of paste and making marks on it. So I decided to give it a little spritz of water and a little brush, basically like a little nail brush is what I used on it, and try to go in the direction of the grain. And it kind of worked okay, but I'm not sure I really like what it looks like. So I've got two different sides with two different techniques on them. I'm going to give you a little peek and you tell me what you think about it. Okay, so I've gotten all the paste off the back of the transfer. I did the front first. Now I've got it off the back, and I'm just going in one direction to remove the lint that I picked up from the shirt on it. Remember, I did not fuzz it, but it still picked up some fuzz from my shirt, from the fabric. Okay, so I'm going to speed dry this using my fuzzing cloth, because I want to use it again real quick. Sticky side up on the microfiber side of the cloth. Fold it over, squeeze out any moisture. Ooh, that's still kind of wet. And then set it aside to dry, sticky side up. So let me set this aside while I get that frame and show you exactly what it looks like and see what you think. I'm looking for a consensus or an idea or a suggestion as to, should I just start it over and give it another coat? Should I just do it in another color? Should I leave it the way it is? You tell me what you think. So after I kind of wiped it a little bit, it lightened it up because obviously the paste wasn't on as thickly. And I used a little brush, like a little nail brush, to go across it and kind of try and make sure I'm showing you the right side, or am I not? Nope, that's the wrong side, this side. To go with the grain of the wood, kind of like. And it's still lighter overall. I'm not real happy with it. I don't like the way this looks. I could lay another layer of paste on it and it might be fine. I don't know. What I did on the other side was pretty similar to that, but while it was still wet, because I didn't like the streaks or the lines from the brush, I just dabbed it with a paper towel all over, so it's more of a flat finish. It doesn't really have that texture to it, but I don't think it really does the color enough justice for the academia. It's a pretty blue, but generally the academia is a little bit darker. So let me know, do you think this looks better with the flat without the brush marks, or the brush marks, or do you think I should give it another coat and make it the dark, you know, the dark academia? I'm just looking for input and ideas. Let me know what you think would be the way to go with this. The flat, no brush marks, the brush marks, or a second coat and to get the dark look of the academia. See, I don't like this. I could lighten it up, just spritz it with some water and go with it with the brush again and smooth it. Same with here. But I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I got kind of tired of playing with it and said, I need another opinion. I've been looking at this too long. So let me know what you think in regards to that. I'm going to go grab that shirt and add a little bit to my design. just dry it with my quick dry tool. Looks like a heat gun, but it's definitely not a heat gun. Let me get my ink out of there. So what I'm thinking of doing is to make this design a little bit wider and add a flower on each side. So I'm thinking I just add this here. Need to bring it up a little bit so that my stems are on the right place. Just add this, and then I'll add the left flower on the right. Just want to make sure it's lined up properly. Let me take another gander at that. Apply my ink. Ooh, I'm in kind of a tight area here, but we'll see. I really like only going in one direction when I'm inking, but I don't want to go off the edge here, so I have to be a little careful. I'm going to have a tough time up here, so I am going side to side. Normally I like just going in one direction with my ink and just going over it to make sure it goes through the silk screen onto the fabric beneath. Got a little area here that I missed the stem. I don't want to go off the transfer and make an oops and then have another thing to fix, right? Okay, so let me lift this up, finger check, no ink. Oh, that came out nicely. Now, I need to put the backer on it. I don't get ink on my shirt. So I have I have the backer on the other side of the transfer so that I could come over here and lay this other flower down and do one more flower, just basically widening my design a little bit. No, I don't want it to be crooked. Let's see if I can get that straight. There, I think that'll go fine. And I only want to get the one flower. I don't want to get the leaf that's right next to it. So I'm being a little careful there. Like I said, I like going in one direction, so if you can, I would definitely advise one direction. And probably a good idea on something like this to use our placement tape to cover up the edges so that there's no chance of going off the edge. But this seems like it's going pretty quick, and it's been fairly easy, wouldn't you say? Opinions on that drop-in box frame in the academia? Please drop me a comment and let me know what you're thinking about that. Okay. I had ink on my fingers. Let me clean my fingers up. That would have been bad if I had pulled up the transfer. I would have smudged and had a mark on the shirt. Probably bigger than the mark I had to begin with. There we go. What do you think? Hopefully I've salvaged it. I just need a place to put my transfer right now. Oh, I'm just running backwards. Okay. So I will hit this with my heat gun, fully dry it. That, or I could just probably set it aside till tomorrow, and once it's totally dry, I'll heat set it. I will take a piece of parchment paper, place it over it, and I will use a heat press set at 305. If you're using a heat press, set it to the temperature specific to your fabric, and I'll follow the instructions with my heat press. If you do not have a heat press, you can use an iron. It's, works just as well. Just again, put the parchment paper down on the surface, put the iron on top of the parchment paper, have your iron set to the temperature for your fabric, and then move it over your design for 4 minutes. Just keep it moving, don't let it sit in one area, and then when you're done with the front, turn your shirt inside out, and then on the opposite side of this, again, put down parchment paper and do the same thing with the iron or with the heat press. That's really all there is to heat setting it. And our ink actually absorbs into the fabric, so this is never going to peel off like vinyl or anything like this. Once it's heat set, it's in the fabric. You could wash it and wear it over and over and over again without any issues. So thanks for joining me tonight. That was a quick little way of salvaging a shirt. I mean, I just really love this. Just bought it and got splashed with something, so I kind of hid it in the flower up there. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about that frame. Thank you so much for watching tonight. See you soon.